Hey everybody, welcome to
Hey!
Couch for It. We are, as always, true professionals of our craft. I am Drew Tillman, and I am joined, as always, by
Hey, I'm
and
Polly.
we nailed it. It's perfect.
Nailed it.
And we're going to be talking about episode 6 of Altered Carbon. Um,
Got into the old TI slip of like, oh yeah, it's
yep, I almost
episode
named two
set.
episodes, which
Wait,
is
that's not
not
this
what we're
one.
doing. Totally different
Different
thing.
different podcast, dude. It's
We're only
totally
doing
different
one
thing.
episode tonight, and that's all we're going to handle because we're
Yeah,
super calm.
we are super
We try
chill.
to
We are super
enjoy the
calm.
show.
But I need to. Yep. Which I did today, and I had so much fun. But I'm gonna go with you, Drew, because you watched it
I
twice.
I did. I watched it
Last
twice.
week.
I watched it once just because I hadn't seen it for a while and I had time, and then I watched it again and took notes, which actually I have to go dig up. But initial impressions of this episode. Oh man, this episode went real wild. Like not in a bad way or anything, but it's just a lot of stuff that had been building up for 5 episodes suddenly crashes down and starts like snowballing into more and more stuff. I mean, there's only 4 episodes left at this point, I think. Yeah, there's 10 episodes. And
Yes.
it just snowballs from this point, and it does not slow down. Valanda.
Oh boy. So like yeah, I watched this and I didn't realize how much time had passed. Like it's the end of the episode. What? It wasn't like they stiffed us. It was like oh my god, I just didn't realize that. Like it's the true adage of time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, like I think the last 3 minutes of this episode had me going like what? Huh? What? Where the fuck did this come from?
Oh,
What? This is awesome. And other comments.
um,
This episode is great. I love this episode. As you can tell by how we affectionately named this episode of CFI, really fucking ninjas.
which is an accurate
So
description
good.
of this episode because it does end
Yeah,
with ninjas.
yeah, it really is. All right, so I think our initial
Yeah,
impressions of this are
definitely.
that it's good. So that's nice. I, as usual, forgot to take notes because I was actually eating my breakfast whilst watching this.
You know what? That's okay. I took notes, and allow me to. I'll walk us through this one by one. And Arch, yes, we are very professional. Don't put quotes around it. We all know.
No, 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 no. You
There
could
you go.
quote
You quote
us.
us there.
We're professional. But please
No,
don't
be like
do the sarcastic
professional.
quotes.
I'll have you know I've always been very
better come.
professional.
We are absolute top-notch professional people here. We know exactly how to run a podcast
Exactly.
and how to run a Twitch stream. So, Drew, would you like to
Yeah,
walk us
so this
through
episode opens with the Patchwork Man song, which I knew I heard last time. You actually hear the lyrics now.
Yes.
And there's a fuzzy
Yeah.
shot of somebody. They have the hands chained to their feet, and they're like, and then they grab the chains and pull on them, and then it cuts away. Like it's a very short, like, ooh, what's this kind of shot?
Yeah, the intro's really it was really short but really good. Like that really weird little patchwork song. I'm like, hey, I recognize that. I was like, oh wait, yeah, now I know where it comes from. But yeah, like the interior is like inside in like
Yeah,
like a
yeah, it's
hetting
like
sack,
somebody's
like
got a
cloth
over
over
their head, and it's
head.
all fuzzy, and it's a
Yeah.
really good, well shot section.
Yeah, it's a good teaser for the rest of
Exactly,
the episode.
yeah.
Let's put it like that. It's good. It's good. It's short. It's sweet. It gets to the point. So then we move
Sorry.
on to
Sorry, the
move on to
dog
Drew?
is laying with her head in a weird spot, so she's basically choking herself, but she's not moving. She's just laying
Oh.
there, breathing heavily at me. And she's
Do you want
she's
to give her a
looking
poke?
at me. She just doesn't want to move. So it cuts from that point to Kovac flying Ortega to the hospital, and he's like talking to her and trying to keep her conscious and trying to like administer to her wounds while also flying a flying car through a sea of flying cars. It's very good. Like he's like yelling at her, like, "Oh, say, talk to me, Ortega. Talk to me, Ortega." And he's like flying, and then an alarm goes off, and he looks forward and like whips the wheel, and the car spins out of the way of something. It's a very good kinetic scene. It's also very short.
It's yeah. Yeah, it's very short. It has a lot of energy in this. Like it doesn't drop from that like wait, sorry, it doesn't drop. No, that's actually the perfect description. Like we have the cliffhanger from the episode before where he's holding her in his arms and he goes out and it just like like Oblivion at like my local one of the theme parks nearby with Oblivion, which basically takes you to top and the next gravity just takes you go and you're like, holy fuck, this is incredible. That's basically what this scene is it doesn't crash and burn, it just goes like the clappers, and there's so much going on and so much going around, and the blood effect of like whatever the hell weapon they used on her in the previous episode where they're taking like stars of like flesh out of her shoulder and stuff. It's like that was fucking grand. They have, you can see that again, and you know you can really feel the energy of like yeah she's in a bad way. This is how she's gonna get out of this one. And then also in this scene, one of my favorite things is he lies to her, and I'm so happy.
She asks where Samir or Abood is, and he tells her that he's fine and he's getting help and everything is okay. She just needs to keep talking to him and relax and stay awake. And it cuts from this like very short scene to the hospital, which note, as we all know, dystopian futures suck. This is the best example of a hospital in this kind of world. Like they played the hospital to a T. In a world where as long as your stack is fine, your body you can just be re-sleeved. They don't care. Like he shows up and she's like, "Oh, payment first," and he puts like Ortega's hand on this like DNA scanner.
Yeah, he has to like flip her body like 3 or 4 times because she's totally gone, and like eventually gets her like her hand on there, and it's just like no enough money.
Keep talking. The dog is drinking behind me. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So he puts the hand on there and that all these wonderful blood smears, and it's like, yeah, there's no credit, and he's like, are you kidding? And she's like, no. But we don't turn anyone away. She just has to wait in line. And you see all these like people dressed in like really like dark, drab things, and they're covered in like dirt or something and clearly blood. And it's clearly like, yeah, these people are gonna die. There's no way they're getting out through here. They're not gonna get seen. And I just had that slight flash in my head of I probably have a very warped view on how your healthcare is because we walk into a hospital and get treated. Your guys have to fuck around with insurance.
Imagine that scene, but imagine it where you know your life hangs in the balance kind of thing, instead of just like, oh, we'll put this stack in another sleeve. Now, granted, they're a little bit better. Currently they're just like, oh yeah, we'll see you first and worry about payment, especially based on your level of trauma that's going on. But obviously in this world, since sleeves are not important, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah, they're all expendable, so it doesn't matter if you're dying of that. As long as your stack is fine, that's a thing. It's just it was just to me just like a really weird like reflection of how I at least think your care system works. Like, wait a minute, why don't you just what? Okay, that's the dark twisted view of the future. I love it. I'll take it.
But I like this whole like long the entirety of not this scene necessarily, but this like motif, because Kovacs spends the rest of being in the hospital spitting and punching things. Because she's like, oh, she doesn't have enough credits or whatever. So Kovacs just spits on the DNA scanner. And the nurse is like, oh, well, I didn't realize. And he's like, yeah, so you're going to help me? So then it like cuts to surgery where Ortega's being operated on by a doctor and a robot. And the guy's like going through a list of like, oh, well, the sleeve is fine, but, you know, the arm is messed up. So we got to replace the arm. Here's some options you can get for the arm, blah, blah, blah. This is the best one because it's linked into her nervous system, and it's got titanium alloy and all sorts of dumb stuff. And he just, like, Kovacs slugs the screen, like, to select it.
My favorite bit about that kind of, like, this whole little hospital, like, triage thing that's going on here is that as he's standing there watching the doctor perform surgery, I mean, theatre, etc., etc. But there's like a shopping list on the right hand side of what things he can add to carts for the replacement arm, and he scrolls to the bottom and hits the bottom one like he actually doesn't. Like, this is the expensive one. This is clearly gonna be the one that does the shit. He just scrolls the button, hits it, and then the dude's like, "Do you want extended warranty?" And he's like, dude, if you do anything else other than fix, I'm gonna put your head through a wall. And then and then proceeds to punch like this little scanning thing of shopping list, and it's just like, Frank, if you're purchase,
it's very good. I mean, and that's like pretty much the end of the hospital section for now. Is this like very frantic? Oh, getting her help, buying her a new arm. blah blah, and it cuts from there to Elliot watching Poe and Lizzie, and in a beautiful scene. First of all, it's Elliot sitting there watching that old beat up TV, and Poe is standing.
I really love that image. I don't know what it is about it. I just love
it's-
that image. Just like even like there's this dystopian future, like where they have all these crazy neon lights going outside. You have that broken down TV with a fuzzy reception. It's not even HD, man. It's not a 4K. It's none of that crap. It's just some
just
fuzzy
terrible.
reception, and it's just old beaten up TV, and like in this like dark setting. It's just I love that. I just love the aesthetics of that scene
It's
alone. It's just
beautiful.
like, oh, this is so pretty.
And Poe is
Sorry.
telling Lizzie that Elliot has said that his color schemes make him think of a antacid, so he's changing up
Antacid.
the color. And you can see in this virtual reality setting, which previously had been bright pink and fuzzy and very strange, it's now more realistic and more toned down. There's more greens and blues and everything, and it's not a strange color.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where Poe sits down and tells Liz, she like talks about how the monsters have chased her and all this other stuff, and Poe's like, "Oh yeah, would you like to hit me?" Which
And she's like, I don't want to hurt you. And he's like,
can't hurt me.
"Dude,
I'm
you
not a
can't
real
hurt
person.
me."
It's fine.
Yeah,
Just do it.
just do it. And I love like it's like one of those anime style punches. It's not how it presents itself, but the reaction of it is like she punches him
yeah.
like in the chest, I think, or something dumb, and he just gets like on a rig, just like pulled straight across this alleyway that her bedroom kind of is in, like this weird setting. And it's just so over the top from this hit. I'm like,
He
love
lands
that.
in a
It's
trash
so cool. Like clear,
And in beautiful.
yeah. As if it's gonna cushion
And Poe
his
is such a
fall.
beautiful character because he's so odd. Because after she hits him and he flies across the alley, he jumps up. He's just like, "Yes, you want to do it again?"
And then of course Elliot's not getting that he needs to back the hell off and let
The
let
guy who has a
medical guys do
degree,
their job.
do
And
his
this,
job, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and he basically jumps in. He's like, if you want someone to punch you, I'll punch you. And then the girl starts freaking out, basically. And he was like, don't worry, I'm here to look after you, yada yada. And she's like, you weren't there, man. You weren't there. And then Poe yanks everyone out, like,
Yes.
no, dude, you can't do this.
He yanks him out, and they're in the hotel. Which actually, I also want to stop here and make a note that this show uses camera angles so well. Like, camera angles and color and all this stuff, they use it so well because, like, the VR always has this weird, like, fisheye look to it, where the edge, but it's not like not like a true fisheye. It's definitely done like, I feel like it's done in post because the edges.
It's like, yeah, it's a very like on like Photoshop, you can have like transparency layers. It's got that kind of feel to it. It's like very slightly modified. Like if you look at almost any, and I agree with you, look at almost any shot in here, you can tell what setting it is. Like if this is like a random side shot, oh, that's definitely going to be this place. Oh, this is clearly going to be some sort of VR, or this is like them inside like a memory. Like you can look at a scene, like just a few shots, and you know what the setting is supposed to be. Even that's because we've watched it long enough, we can now pick up those cues. I don't really know, but it's there and it's amazing.
I'm going to assume it's either the director or the DP really studied this whole idea of like using camera angles to. Are you whining? What's wrong?
I think so.
What is wrong? They really used the camera angle. They really studied camera angles, and they used them to a really well effect because. And actually, this is another great example because when Elliot and Poe get out, they're having a little fight. And Elliot slaps a bunch of stuff off the counter, and Poe just kind of freezes, like he's like upset. And Elliot's like, "Oh, you're the hotel, and the hotel is you. Can you feel pain?" And the camera's like below Poe, and he says, and it's up close, and he says, "No," and then it rotates above him and gives him like that, like very sinister look, and he says, "I can feel anger," and then the guns pop out from the ceiling and point at Elliot's chest. Oh, it's so good! Like,
awesome.
And then, I think he calls him Tin Man here. He's like, "Let's go, Tin Man," or something. Yeah. And then Poe turns to the side. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting reports that Miss Ortega's like in the hospital." And they in their little fight here, like, without even a problem. They're just like, "Oh, well, time to go."
the chemistry between these two guys is amazing. Like there is that proper like they do not trust one another, and it's probably because like Elliot isn't actually part of the hotel. He's not staying
Exactly.
there. In better commas, like everything else is being paid for by someone else, and Elliot really has nothing to do here. He shouldn't be here as far as AI is concerned. But yeah, it's just a very cool little scene. I want to also point out like the scene where Elliot interrupts the therapy is actually so reminiscent of actually working in a hospital. Like I always often found it wasn't the patients that were difficult to deal with, it was the family members who were just like, you can't do that, that's terrible. I'm like, we're trying to do with the thing, it looks terrible, but it's going to help them. You need to back away, like you have to get out. Like this is not helping at all. This is why procedures are not done around family members. These things have to be done and they're not pleasant, so please walk away.
Yeah, and he shows up and he does ruin it because he wants to help his daughter, but he just doesn't know what to do, and he knows nothing about psychosurgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
I was just happy to see it still exists in the future.
Which also is funny because Elliot is a medic. Like that was his job, but like he clearly doesn't understand about like psychology. Like that wasn't part of what he ever had to deal with.
Yeah.
Because medics in the future were just like, and especially a field medic, which was like, oh, if the sleeve's messed up, rip out the stack and let's go. Like the body doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a medic job. Yeah, the easiest way to do it is to grab a knife and rip the back of the neck out and grab the stack. So yeah, it's different kind of triage. Yeah, that's very odd. So then we go from there, I believe, to outside the hospital.
To the ever-present rain, where Kovac is standing and looking at blood drip off his hand, and then he has a conversation with his dead girlfriend. And he more or less has convinced himself that he won't let someone he loves die again, because that's the pattern that he deals with. And he's on the fence that Calcrest died for nothing. Like, he's kind of like, oh, well, maybe everything we did was stupid and pointless, and, you know, you would have been fine if we had just fucked off.
Yeah, like, if we just gone with, yeah, we should live forever, then you would have been fine, and we would have lived forever. That's definitely going back to that primal human fear of dying. Like, no, this is not a good thing. We have the opportunity to live forever. What the hell are we doing? But dealing with it in the abstract of like, no, of course things should die. That's natural progression. It means that things can change. And if we don't change, we become stagnant and we basically die off anyway. So like dealing with that in the abstract is one thing. In your face of holy shit, this woman was basically dying in my arms. Oh yeah, you want someone to live forever. That's just the primal, like, you know, the urge is kicking in there. It was very cool to see. I
definitely agree. And Elliot shows up. And they have this little conversation, and Elliot says, Elliot calls Ortega his girl, which becomes a theme in this episode. And Kovac is like, she's not my girl, and he's like, yeah, whatever, man. And they have this. It's a weird little like back and forth before Poe calls, and does. Honestly, my favorite thing in this whole show is Poe calls. And he's like, Poe, I'm busy. What do you want? This better be important. And he's like, oh, it'll be really bad for me if Elliot's there. By the way, let him know I'm not talking to him. And he's like, tell him yourself. He's like, obviously I can't tell him. Which is just like, it's so childish. He's like, well, I'm not talking to him. Okay, well, tell him I'm not talking to him. No, you tell him. Well, I can't tell him that because then I would be talking to him. It's just...
It's so dumb and so funny. I love this kind of animosity between Elliot and Poe. It's so good. It's just, and to be fair, Poe is just like hands down got to be one of my favorite characters in this, because holy shit, he's funny and dark and detached and attached all at the same time. It's
so
very
beautiful
good.
and weird.
Very funny.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. But he's calling to tell them. I'm kind of like powering through this because there are a lot of scenes in this episode. He's calling them to tell them that someone connected to Isaac is the person who bought all the art that they found out in the last episode. And he knows the Shell Corporation. What? What's wrong? Why are you being so weird?
Overexcitement. Aw. Yeah, so he He's like, yeah, so there's a shell corporation, and they're basically pumping all this money and buying all this art, and it's going to him. Here's the address of the person you need to go beat up. And oh,
See Sophie.
oh, she's adorable. A pain in the ass right now, but adorable. Yeah, so they he's like, okay, well, we better go check to see if she's okay. And Elliot's like, give me something to punch and I'll come with you. And they were like, okay. So he goes back inside to check on Ortega.
That's not yet.
Who,
no, because he says, like, I need
that
something
not?
to punch. And it just cuts to the police precinct where somebody's cleaning the blood out of the elevator. And Bancroft's lawyer shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And threatens the captain.
Yeah.
My head's in the way of my mic. She threatens the captain that
We can still
you know,
hear
they have something that belongs to Bancroft and like they need to give it to her. And the captain's like, "Listen, you aren't a meth, so you don't get to talk to me in that way in front of my people." And she's like, "Oh, but I'm better than you." And it's
Yeah, it's like one of those dumb lines, and it's like it's like of the two of us here, one of us is a puppet being mindless puppet being controlled by forces they don't understand, and the other one is me. I was like, no, that's both
Seriously?
of you. Come on, like you're both being like screwed over with.
Yeah, and like the end of that scene is basically just like it's telling you that Omu thinks that she is like better than a grounder, even though she was born that way, and
Yeah.
you know she thinks that she's gonna be a meth and all this other stuff.
She's going to be no different to the mess
Exactly,
by
yeah,
the time
like,
she's
she's
finished.
gonna be
I
a
think that's her
meth.
plan. And yeah, and essentially she gets her way / Bancroft's way, which is getting the clone sent back to
Exactly.
Bancroft.
Yeah. She gets
Um,
the clone sent to Bancroft, and then it cuts to the captain talking to Mickey, who is the IT guy, and he finds out about the Ghost Walker.
yeah.
Get away from that. And she's like sniffing at things. She's like, "Why are you being weird? You literally were sleeping for 12 hours." I mean, that's probably why, honestly. She slept the entire time I was playing Cthulhu a while ago, and now she's awake.
oh,
It's fine. It's fine. Everyone who's listening to the podcast will just get to hear me talk to the dog and hear the dog make noise. No.
yeah. Yeah, so all you'll need to do is just watch us on
She's
Twitch
super
and get to see how
adorable.
adorable she is. A pain in the ass, but adorable.
Anyway, so he finds out about the Ghost Walker, and then he's like annoyed because why wasn't he told about the Ghost Walker? Like, why did no one tell him about this?
Yeah.
And what the fuck is going on in this precinct? Why are people lying to him? And
Yeah.
it's really interesting because, you know, he doesn't fire Mickey. He doesn't like lay this guy out. He's just like is annoyed. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe he really cares for his people. Maybe it's this, maybe it's this. Like, it's a good scene of a captain looking out for his people.
I honestly thought it was like people are lying to him. It's like, well, to be honest,
Probably,
he's probably
yeah.
used to it, which is what I went with. And obviously he's on the take for whatever. So I just didn't really like register like how significant the scene was
Exactly.
until
like
much
when it
later.
gets,
Yeah, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that's a good point, because at the time I just read it like, yeah, this is a shitty future. There are things where, yeah, he's on the take. He probably assumes that other people are on the take. He probably has to go along these like lines of like, yeah, there's things being done behind my back. There are things being done in front of me. I don't know everything. That was basically what I read it as, and clearly I'm like, oh no, I missed that completely.
Ooh. But
Yeah.
and from this scene it cuts to Demi and the Ghost Walker. And they're meeting a man named Hemingway.
Hemingway. I loved
very-
that choice of name.
It's a good name.
I really did. Like, oh, okay, cool. It's another reference to some like classical literature. I love it.
This show is so well done.
And also, major props to Tattoo Guy.
Again, playing a
Holy
totally
shit.
different character. It's so good.
Yep, major props, man. So freaking
you deserve
good.
whatever you got paid, and probably more if we're being honest.
Yeah, especially because they came in like unassuming, like, oh, he's just going to be like the big guy who plays the old grandma, and we're never going to see him again. I'm so
Right.
glad we get to see him so many times.
And he does
so
so
happy
good
by
in
this.
every role that he shows up in.
Yeah, So he's playing Dimmy,
Twinless.
Twinless, basically. Dimmy Twinless, and he talks to Hemingway. And the conversation goes along the lines of, I want to kill the envoy who killed my brother. Hemingway's like, it's not your brother, you double-sleeved, you psychopath. And don't touch the envoy, we need him alive. And then Dimmy Twinless basically going, no, I still want to kill him. And the other guy going, no, don't do that.
And then Hemingway goes into a backup cycle, and Dimmy's like, oh, I'm going to kill him. And then the Ghostwalker's like, oh, if you move, I'm going to kill you very painfully. So Dimmy backs off and sits there, and then Hemingway tells him that the Ghostwalker, whose name Lung, that's his name. Or Leung.
Yes.
Something like that. He tells him that he's going to take him to a safe house, and he's just going to stay there until the envoy situation is resolved. Exactly.
Yeah, the bigger picture, I think. The bigger issues are dealt with. Because obviously something that Dimmy does not know what's going on. Yeah, and that's basically... I loved in this thing, like, showing the backup happening. It's a very good scene,
because, like, he goes all, like, kind of slack-faced, and he's like, making a weird face. Yeah. It's neat, because you're like, oh, okay, so they're vulnerable during their backup.
Yes, I think that's definitely what this is supposed to
I'm pretty sure it's going to be some foreshadowing, everybody.
I would be not surprised if this was some sort of shadow in the terms of 4. It was a nice little kind of like a nice little scene which basically says, yeah, here's a foreshadowing thing, and here's Dimmy not being happy. Yeah. Also, amazing tattoo guy. Seriously. I need to find out his name because holy shit.
Also, Rogue, she's not normally a lap dog, but sometimes when she's acting really weird, she likes to sit in my lap, but very rarely. Yeah. Usually she just likes to sit next to me and get petted.
Yeah.
So it cuts from that scene of Hemingway and Dimmy to Kovacs and Elliot blowing open the door to their, like, the person they're going to look for, like his apartment or house or whatever.
Wait, did they
no,
not see
they
Ortega
don't see Ortega until after this.
Because I thought they just like popped their heads in, and then they were like, "Well," because she opens her eyes and sees Elias, right? Oh, it is. Oh, okay. I thought it was.
But they literally slap this kid around. They just like slap him around, and then Isaac shows up and points a gun at them, and they slap him around a little bit, and like they.
Along with the lines of like, oh, do you know what my father's going to do to you when he finds out I've laid a hand on you? He's like, I haven't laid a hand on you. And then like throws the kid at Elliot, who then pins him against the wall and punches him. He's like, now I've laid a hand on you. I'm like, okay, that's cheesy and cliche, but I love it. It was so dumbly well. It was so good. So yeah, we find out that Isaacs and whoever it is has been buying all this artwork is basically front to get this kid a bunch of money so he can run away.
They implied that Isaac killed his dad. So, they're going to take Isaac to his father along with his boyfriend, whose name I literally don't remember at all, which is who this guy is.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I think it begins with an S, but I can't be sure.
I don't remember.
I think he was the guy that was back in the party, the one that was I had to make up with him because
I think
we don't die. I think
he was the guy who was like, oh, we're stuck together for the rest of human history, so we might as well just deal with each other.
Get along. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, after they basically beat the snot out of like the Isaac and his boyfriend, they're just like, well, we better take him to your father. Oh my god,
and this is the most uncomfortable scene I've seen in a lot of shows, because Kovacs is standing there with Elliot, who has no business being in this room at all. And at some point, he mentions that, and he's like, I'm going to wait outside.
So they go to deliver Isaac to his father and tell him what happened during some of the time that he doesn't remember.
48 hours.
And basically says, like, here's an update what happened. Like, you found your son had been, like, basically using an illegal clone version of you to go make deals. And you found out, went to the Thunderdome, beat the snot out of him to an inch of his life, and then you fucked off. And then we find out that Isaac's boyfriend had basically taken him to a hospital to get him healed up. And it's during that part where the lawyer turns up with the illegal clone, pushing it through on like this fucking like this like med bed thing, where it's all like encased in and like closed down, and it's all like chilled and all that good stuff. And Bancroft basically turns from her, looks at looks at Elliot and goes, "Who the hell is that?"
And it's like, I'm gonna wait outside.
Like, literally,
Yes.
what is he doing here? Yeah.
Which is really good. And then Bancroft has an argument with his wife about how Isaac is the way he is because she coddled him. No, he's the way he is because you didn't, let him grow up. And like this huge argument, which I love because Elliot's standing there. Not Elliot, sorry. Kovacs is standing there, and he's clearly looking uncomfortable. Oh.
Yeah, this is clearly like a parental argument, like between covering your kid in cotton wool and not allowing them to grow up at all. Like they are having this like full blown argument, and like the kid is standing there with his boyfriend, and the kid's like, "I'm just trying to make you respect me, Dad. I don't want to show you as being like a spoiled child. I'm a man of my own thing." And the boyfriend steps in and like, "Yo, you need to know who the man your son has become. He's not a boy anymore. You should know who he is," and yada yada yada. And they have this like four-way like argument type thing with like the threat of like physical violence coming into the kid, and Mum's like, no, fuck off. And then you have like these three random people off to one side. You have Kovacs off to one side. You have Elliot off to one side, who eventually does just fuck off and go. And then you have the lawyer. And like watching those three watch the four of them have an argument is like,
it's so
I feel
awkward.
that awkwardness.
You feel awkward because the camera stays like outside of it.
Yeah.
Like it says like there are no like close up shots during this, or very few. So you feel like outside of this argument. It's just like, oh, I don't like being here. I don't want to be in this spot.
Yeah, it's not like from it's not from Bancroft's point of view, not like getting close up on his face and seeing the reaction of his kids and then how he reacts to that. There's none of that. It's all us looking in, going, "Wow, this is fucked up." I don't think anyone's in the right here. What the fuck? And it basically culminates in Bancroft going to the fireplace, picking up a poker, and the family going, no, don't hit the boy. And then he just goes to town on his clone. Like, just beats the snot out of his clone's head. And there's blood flying everywhere. And the my favorite shot of being the lawyer getting covered in blood. And she just, like, stands there and takes it. And Kovacs is like, that's
also,
that's
the
weird.
part of the scene is Kovacs realizing that Isaac didn't kill Bancroft.
Yes.
Because, as he says, it takes a lot of hatred to kill your own father. And Isaac just doesn't have that in him. Like, he doesn't have the hate to do it.
No. And there's also, like, the suggestion here, because it does those little mini flashbacks during some of this scene where we see the kid in the cupboard and he's watching his dad, like, wail on his mom.
If I'm being honest. Way more depressing.
Anyway. Yeah, so we see this going on. So I think we're supposed to pick up that he's probably killed his father. I'm gonna go along with the assumption.
Speaking from my own personal experience, trust me.
Yeah, speaking from the appearance of having killed my own father, he is not ragey enough. He wants you to respect him for some reason. Whatever weird, twisted future like ideas they have of like, it doesn't matter if you beat my body to death. It's okay. I just want you to respect me, Dad.
It's
like,
very weird.
That's just too fucking weird.
But this scene I actually like the ending of, because it's Kovacs and the lawyer in the elevator, and she's clearly shaken. Like, she's covered in blood and just like fucking like shell shocked. Her eyes, like wide eyes, staring at nothing. And he's like, "Oh, you still want to be one of them?" And she's like, "I have what it takes." And it's like, do you? You just watched a man murder himself. You don't seem too okay with that.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong here, and you wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, because I think he gives her a handkerchief or something like.
He pulls out that wanted poster of the Ghost Walker, and he's like, "Oh, do you recognize this guy?" And she shakes her head, and he puts it away.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's that. He doesn't offer a handkerchief. He doesn't offer any like comfort or anything. He's just like, "Oh, you want to be one of those people?"
Like, you just witnessed
Like,
that awkward scene, right?
But it actually it cuts to Demi and the Ghost Walker walking along through the city, having a weird conversation because that's all they do. And Demi says he's here to kick ass and take names, and if he's not being awesome, what's the point of being alive?
Oh yeah, one of them is
yeah.
here literally just to kick ass. Like that. That's Timmy's entire point of
Just to
being on
kick
the
some
squad
ass.
is just
And the
to kick
Ghost
some
Walker's like,
ass.
I'm supposed to serve a big
his life.
purpose. And Timmy's just like, I want to fucking rage, man.
Yeah, one of them's like, I serve a higher purpose, like a priest. Like, yeah. He's like, I just want to kick the shit out of stuff. It's just a carnal pleasure I want to do.
And then the Ghost Walker says,
and then-
are you a believer? Because, again, as we established last time, he's a religious nutbag. And we get a cool parkour chase scene.
Yeah. We do, and I was like, "Oh, this is rad." It's the religious nut doing the religious line, like it's his ritual before he does a killing, and Timmy clearly
Time
knows
to go.
this, and he's like, "Well,
He
I'm off."
leaps off
And,
a bridge.
we get this amazing.
Leaps off a bridge, leaps off some other things, down to the street, charges through a bunch of people, climbs a thing. Like, it's a really interesting chase scene. Oh, it's very well done.
It's well shot, but it was also like, did we need this? Like, I feel like we probably didn't need that particular. Like, we could have just had the shot of him, just like that initial bit of like running the fuck away, and the guy like,
We
curse you, I would have got
definitely
you,
didn't need the full
kid.
chase
Like
scene,
that
but
would
it's a good chase scene. My favorite shot is when Demi runs through that,
It is a good scene.
cafe, and the camera angle they use makes it look like he's running really fast and just like blowing people out of the way through his sheer movement. It looks it's like a really good
Yeah,
shot.
like
It's weird, but you know.
I think that's definitely like a comic book shot. The idea that going so fast that like every like people move around
Yeah,
you because
no,
like your airflow or some bullshit. Like he is parting it just by him arriving nearby very soon at full speed. Like people just like pass around him. It's like it was just a very cool looking shot. I have to agree. It looks very cool, but it's sort of like
Maybe
we
we
didn't need
it,
this
but
one.
it ends
damn
at what
good
looks like the
excuse.
exact same tattoo shop that Kovac goes to in like episode 2 or some shit.
Yeah.
Probably not supposed to be that tattoo shop, but I'm pretty sure it's the exact same tattoo shop. Where he throws a person out of the tattoo chair, rips the seat off.
Oh my god, yeah. Like he basically blasts his way in there and just like knocks this bloke who's having a tattoo
Just, like,
just
get the fuck out of
completely
the way.
off the chair. And that's it. That's, I believe, possibly the only time we
Uh-huh.
ever see that guy. Like, I don't think we see him rolling away. I don't think we see him running. I think we just see him
he
being
got
knocked
knocked off
off
the
and
chair
that's
so
it.
hard he turned into dust. But Demi cuts a box out of the chair, pulls out this thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, listen, that deal we had, I'll take it, but I need extraction right the fuck now." And out through the window you see the Ghost Walker, and he puts this thing on his neck, and he's like, "Fine, fine, fine, don't care, we have a deal, let's go." Hits a button, the whole block goes dark as the Ghost Walker runs in, and when it comes back up,
Yeah.
that tattooed sleeve is just laying on the ground, and Demi the Twin's gone. But it cuts to that cloned body of Kovac waking up.
Oh,
Look at that. And
would you
Carnage
look
is
at
staring
that?
at him, and he's like, "Ah, good to work with you, Mr. What? I can't remember Demi's last name. Kasparov, I think.
don't
Demi
remember.
Kasparov? Anyway,
I honestly don't remember.
I don't care enough because they never call him whatever his last name is, except for like 2 more times. And now we cut back to where you see Ortega in the hospital. Because Kovac and Elliot are there, and they walk in, and Ortega's mom punches Kovac in the face.
Oh my god, it's like they walk in, they see like the mum like looking over to the door, and like she gets up and yeah, she just slugs him so hard. Like I think she instantly
She hits
leaves
him,
a
and I
bruise
don't
or
know if she
something,
leaves a
right?
bruise, but she definitely goes, she's like, "Ow." Which I love. She's like, "Ow. That was a mistake."
Clocks him so hard in the face, and she's like,
Yeah, she
I'm gonna go get some
Oh,
coffee.
I actually wanted to jump back here for a second because I just thought about it. The argument outside in the rain that Kovac and Elliot had was about how much, like, he asked about Ortega's health, and he asked, like, if she was going to make it, and Kovac was like, "Oh, the sleeve is messed up."
Oh yeah,
And
also
he's
that
like,
sleep.
"Well, you could just re-sleeve her, right?" And he's like, "Well, she grew up Neo-C." And he's like, "Oh, religious coding." He's like, "Nope, she's not religiously coded." And he's like, "Then what are you doing? Just, like, get her a new sleeve." And Kovac is like, she'd probably hate me if I did that. Like, she probably doesn't want one.
Yeah, like her body is fine apart from the
Yeah.
arm, so just replace the arm.
And
Like
it's-
there's no point wasting the sleeve. And it's interesting to see how disposable, like, especially, I mean, to be fair, it comes from the medic, and his entire job was to cut stacks out like that. That's like his job. That's all he,
Exactly.
the sleeve
And
means
it's a
nothing
neat
to
little
him.
insight also.
It's Kovacs, like,
Yeah. It's a neat little insight into Kovac as well. Of him basically, like, you do get these glimpses of Kovac being like a decent person. Like he's not just an envoy of being like, I just need to get my thing, and that's it. I need to do what I need to do, and everyone else is expendable and pointless and whatever. He is still he's a decent person, you know, underneath all of his bullshit.
Yeah, there's underneath him being an asshole. Yeah, he still has a little grain of like humanity in him. Yeah. And they have that interesting little discussion. The man punches him like full on in the jaw, which is a comment which is just kills me later on. And yeah, they go into to deal with her and talk to her and see how she's doing. And she,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and she basically they get there. She wakes up and calls him. I want to say Elias, but that's not right. Yeah, it's Elias. Okay. Calls him Elias, and then she passes out again, and he's like,
oh
I'm going to be all brooding and stomp off. Boom, boom, boom. And Elliot's like, yeah, he's like the biggest child. Like, yeah, they had 6 once. I mean, yeah, he clearly cares, but still, you know, like, yeah, I understand it. Like, someone like Elias, there's like the same as if, like, I woke up and sprouted some other random dude's name in bed. Like,
she's waking up from fucking, like, literally both a blood loss and a drug coma, and she says somebody's name, like, have you ever had surgery? People say the weirdest shit when they wake up.
And also, she's waking up to the face of her ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Just it's not her ex-boyfriend in there. Like, I understand the confusion, but I also understand his immediate reaction of like, yeah, this hurts.
Big baby here.
But
Elliot has the best reaction because Elliot's like, "Whoa, you can't leave," and he's like, "Yeah, but she doesn't want me here. She wants Elias here, and I have work to do." Elliot's like, "Grow the fuck up and stay here. You're the only one who's here."
It's like, yeah, but you're the one that's here right now. And he goes back and sit with her. It's like, I loved Elliot in that moment. It's like, yeah, that's it. Tell the brooding emo boy to
just be like, and we get a cool camera angle here. If it's very close on Kovac's face, and the background is like, not only is the background blurred, it's also like, it's the depth of field is like pushed really back, so it seems like Ortega's very, very far away from him. And it's a very cool shot of just like, oh, he feels isolated and far away from somebody. And like, just the camera work in this fucking show is so good.
Everything in this show is good. Everything is thought about. It's like, oh no, I'm like, how many pictures? Like, I feel like very much like how many pictures are in the wall probably felt very important to the set designer. What they were felt very. It wasn't like, oh, we'll just go down like IKEA and go grab like a random like picture frame or something.
Like, matches what's going on here. Like, it needs to be a thing.
Yeah. Everything is just on point with the show. Like, there are a few little bits of like writing you think, yeah, that's convenience, like they're having sex and suddenly everything's okay between them. Like, there are those few odd little bits, and there is one at the end of this episode which is like but they're only very small and they're only very niggly things, but it's otherwise it's perfect. Anyway,
was involved. Like,
cares.
They were like, what's going on here? Cool, this needs to be like this, and if you know, this coloring scheme is important, so everything here needs to be this color.
There's no college try in
it's all on point. And eventually it cuts to where she wakes up again, and her and Kovac have a little fight. That because she finds out he lied to her, and she gets upset, and then she does the classic, "Oh, I have superpowers now" move, where she crushes something, and then is like, what the fuck?
You replaced my arm. Bits of me are replaceable. And he's like, well, not really, but you know, your arm was
renovate anything else while they were in there.
It's like, no, everything else, like, they didn't replace it. No, it's just the arm. Like, he gets like, come on, just calm down. Like, literally just the arm. She's like, what parts of me are replaceable? And then her captain walks in.
Flowers. And they have a little talk, and Kovac is walking around being Kovac, and he's like, oh, you're here with flowers. Yes. Very, very nice flowers, huh? You're not sad, you're asking for forgiveness. And you say Mickey's not fired, huh? Like, basically just this very...
That's when it drops to me. It's just like one of these like amazing ways of going, right, we need to drop a bit of plot here, but how do we do it? He's an envoy. We've got it. It was
him saying things and just
executed.
Be like, what do you say?
Yeah, it's like the dude, like he just did that whole like really quick deductive reasoning thing of like, here's a thing, here's a thing, here's a thing.
Yep.
I've noticed this, this, and this, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess that all makes sense. And it's a beautiful way of just suddenly dropping to Ortega
He's
that
on
her
the take,
captain
yeah.
is filthy and dirty. And it was beautiful because the guy just folds like a cheap suit, and it's just like instantly like, yeah, I'm everything.
Ortega's like, give me,
And,
and he's like, take all you want. Steps outside. He has some sort of conversation with Elliot, but it's not a super important conversation. It's more like a time killing conversation.
No.
And then he goes back in,
Yeah.
and she's slamming the captain into the ground, breaking the fucking tile.
It's so good. She basically beats the snot out of him and gets the answers that they need. Which is like, go to this place, here's a thing. Yes, I'm on the take. I only told them this. Oh, you can make an arrangement. I've never seen the guy, but we meet in a special cafe, and she's like, do the thing, make the meat, and we'll go. Like, you can fuck off.
It cuts from there to this shitty virtual cafe. Where
I have to say before we leave this particular area, I love the fact that she starts using her robotic arm, like, "Hey, I'm replaceable," and just starts using it. Like,
here's a comment I want to make. I'll make it when we get there. That I think is funny. But yeah, she starts using it right away, which I love.
I think she threatens to like punch his face as well, Kovac. Because it has one of my favorite lines in there. Like she threatens to punch him in the face. It's one of these really quick, very quiet little throwaway lines that's really funny. It's like, it's okay, I could give you the Ortega like discount. Because I've seen the mum, and I'm like, oh my god, that's hilarious and clever. But they don't give it like enough time. That's how it's so good. It's like this little subtle drop of like, actually, yeah, that's good. I like that.
Like a child, kind of just like. Like, you know, he's exasperated and annoyed and like, kind of upset, and he's just like mouthing off basically.
Yeah, or it's an inside joke that only he knows. It's an inside joke between him and the audience because we're the only one who knows. It's just, I just love that line. I don't know why. It was just one of those funny little things. Like I like that. That's clever, good writing. I like them. So then we go on to
where they have to pay up front by the minute, and it's low res only. They pay and go downstairs, and Kovac convinces her to let him be in the VR because he can, as an envoy, look like whatever the fuck he wants. He basically can be in VR chat and change his avatar as many times as he wants. He's just like, I'm gonna be a sexy nurse. Hey.
And yeah, that's not how he goes in, however, although this scene would have been played out very differently if it did. He goes in as Tanaka, right? Yep.
This scene is also
Captain
super
Tanaka.
short.
And he meets with... Yeah, it's like really short. Like the visualization of a low-res VR is very cool because it's kind of black and white with like shades of like kind of grayish steel blue.
Like there's a little bit of color coming through. So it's like like just the snow, like the blizzardy effect, but
yeah. Back in my day, back when we were children, back when you used to have to like dial in like the frequency of a TV channel, it was very much like this, and you'd accidentally picked up a channel you're not supposed to have. Like, oh, I can get channel 5, which is what we had in the UK. Like, oh, I can get it. You turn the dial, and you just kind of get this weird ghosty image. That's exactly what this looked like. Yeah, I hacked my TV. Fuck yeah. That's exactly how this feels. And I know the youngsters amongst you will never know what I'm talking about.
And, so he meets this person who we as the audience realize is Hemingway because he comes into focus enough that you're like, oh, that's the guy I just saw. And Hemingway's like, oh, you're not Tanaka. Who are you? And he's like, of course I'm Tanaka. Who else would I be?
Of course I am.
And then Hemingway is like, Takeshi, is that you? And Tanaka's face melts. It's the only way I can describe it. Because Ortega pulls him out of VR, and he's like, why'd you pull me out? And she's like, do you hear that? And he's like, hear what? There's nothing going on. And she's like, exactly. Because when they came in, there was a lot of noise upstairs. There were like people and music and lights.
Yeah.
So they go upstairs. A bunch of people just sitting around. Super still. Making no noise.
Super still. Super quiet.
Kovac reaches out and touches one. And his head falls off.
It slides off in that awkward way. It's incredible. And everyone in this bar apparently has had this happen. Everyone's been positioned perfectly, or it was done so quickly nobody noticed. Either way. But then we cut to, I believe, a shot of, I think it's the Ghost Walker, right? I don't know.
It's Demi the Twin in Kovac's body.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he's looking at a version of himself who's like, that's
Yeah, and he,
fucking
like,
enough.
detonates some sort of
And the way this guy
thing.
delivers it, yeah, like the way he delivers it, it's like, yeah, that's Dimmy. Like, there's something about that character that these people who are portraying him have clearly had to like work on, like the specifics of like this is exactly how this thing is said, because it's very consistent across the whole thing. Like, these are quality quality sets of actors, my people. Like, these are fucking great. I'm always impressed with people who can play multiple characters, and especially if they are the same character bouncing between A and B, because quite often in a show where they do like, let's do the body swap, they can't quite get each other's character very well, and it's just slightly rough. But this is perfect. This is almost seamless. Like, holy shit, this is
in a movie
amazing.
or TV show that does it well, and they hit the mannerisms and stuff. It's very well done. Like, one of my favorites is, I don't remember which Harry Potter it is, but Hermione is imitating Bellatrix Lestrange, and the way they had that done was they had Helena. Yeah, it's Helena Bonham Carter that plays Bellatrix. They had her play herself, but as if she were Hermione, and Emma Watson mimicked that.
Yeah.
No, they had Emma Watson play Bellatrix, who then mimicked Emma Watson. It's this weird, like, roundabout thing that they got. That's why they got their particular acting done, and it's like, oh, that's kind of a neat thing, because that's just like, oh, how would Emma Watson or how would Hermione pretending to be Bellatrix Lestrange do that? Like, who knows nothing about her, basically.
Yeah.
Except for that she's bossy.
Yeah. It's so good, and so it's very like I've often seen shows where they do the body swap and one of them is fucking spot on,
Just like,
and the other person's just not. It's like, what happened here? I know who the better actor is. Ta-da! And it's not the star of the show.
But Dimmy the Twin knocks them out using some sort of crazy grenade thing, and they wake up in chains. And there's a very quick transition scene of they see the chains again. Somebody pulls a bag off their head. You see Kovacs and Ortega. Then you see them in this room where Dimmy the Twin, wearing Kovacs' body, comes in, and it basically has this weird conversation of how would it be to be murdered by yourself? Would it be weird? Because that's what I'm gonna do.
I love Dimmy so much. I love Dimmy so much. There's something about this asshole psychopath that's just like, I don't know. It's just something about him that's just like, it makes me smile. So they have this weird little conversation where like, yeah, we're gonna beat the snot out of you, and Carnage turns up and he's like, yeah, so you two are gonna go fight something, and you're gonna die, but we're gonna make sure she dies because it's more incriminating for you.
You know, it's great, and you're gonna die because you found out I record fights and can't have that. So let's go.
Yep.
And they go out to the fight ring where everyone thinks that Kovacs is Elias Riker, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch Riker get murdered."
And like everyone's like, Riker, and he's like, "I'm not Riker."
Someone's like, "Well, to you they are. They don't give a fuck." And my favorite is when they actually get them into the arena. There's just that like short, fat little dude who's like, "You remember my brother, asshole?" Like that's such a weird thing, and he's just like looking at like, the fuck.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Like sometimes like in a crowd, there'll just be a generic crowd, but they stuck one random dude in there. I like the idea, like in my head canon, like this person who was acting it, he just shouted something random out that was so cool to be heard on camera.
It's fine.
No, let's stick him in. No. That's just too good. We gotta keep that. That's good. That's just good. It was perfect for that little setting up of everybody fucking hates Riker. Like whatever he did when he was here last, they're like, no, dude, this is not. Nah.
So they have to fight two combat sleeves, one of which has a horn and one of which is just super strong. Kovacs immediately dodges the horn guy, who then murders a man through a fence because he's too close to the fence. Ortega stops a muscle man with her new arm. And then, by the way, this is the scene I wanted to point out. She like holds her arm up and stops the guy, and then she's like, "Oh my god, I'm super strong." And it's like, you pushed a man through a wall like 2 minutes ago. Of course you're really strong. I don't mean through. I mean pushed. You pushed Tanaka through a wall.
I guess it's different from a heated moment of rage and anger to, holy shit, we're gonna die.
It was really interesting because she's had this arm for a little while now.
it was that little recognition of like, hey, I have superpowers. It was that little face that she made. I appreciate that. And then she immediately like smacked in the face, which is like, yeah, that's what you get
And
for
then
taking a moment.
they have the upper hand for all of 2 seconds because then the combat sleeves like throw them against the fence, and they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna die!" But no, they're not because they grab one of the chains they were in and they use it to murder the 2 guys, and it's like, wee! And Carnage is standing there, and the shot with this dude is such a good shot because it's through the fence. There's only light on his face, and this dude is the guy who plays Carnage, who we've talked about, the guy who played Pestilence and all this stuff. He has a very expressive face, and he's standing there and he's smiling at first, and he's got that super creepy smile that he could do. And when they kill these 2 combat sleeves, he's just like, "Oh no!" And then then Kovach's sleeve rolls in and cuts Kovach's leg, and he's like, "Ooh, yes."
Oh, so yeah, props to Carnage. I don't know the name of that guy, and I'm probably never ever gonna remember it. He does deserve to be named, but this dude, yeah, like you have some people who can pull off expressions just by a simple move. Like one such actor is the guy who plays Teal'c in Stargate. Like, just to raise an eyebrow, you get a whole like idea of what's going on. This guy's completely the opposite. Like, his face is so expressive. There is no doubt in any of your mind what the hell it is that he's thinking. Like, his face expresses what his mind is going through at the moment, and it was perfect. It was so good at this moment.
Well, actually,
and then
one, I found his name. His name is Matt Frewer.
Okay.
And 2,
Matt Frewer.
This is really only going to be for you, Valanda. I'm going to send you this link. He has the best crazy man beard in this picture. He looks like he came out of time and space. I don't know what this picture is from, but it definitely looks like... If this is him in everyday life, what the fuck? You're a time traveler.
Are those 2 fair? Oh my god, yeah. If that's him in every day, okay. What I'm gonna do is we need to share this into our Twitch, and I'm gonna put it on the episode description as well. Holy crap, yeah. This picture, man.
Just go look at his face.
Something else. Like if he has that in every day, his beard must grow back at a rate of like something unreal.
But Dimmy the Twin in Kovach's sleeve jumps in and he starts like cutting Ortega and Kovach, and he's like monologuing about like, "Oh, you know what you must be thinking. Yeah, why hasn't he murdered me yet? Do I have Reaper?" But because Dimmy the Twin is ultimately a bad guy, he loses. After a long drawn out, I keep cutting people and putting Reaper into them. Kovach does the hero thing of suddenly being like, "Oh, I can beat it."
Yeah. He gets stabbed, and then like, well, she's done something to stop him from stabbing him again, and then like the table's turned and the dude is dead.
He rips out
and I believe he rips out the stack. He throws it at Ortega, who uses her new super arm to crush
and then Carnage
thing.
Very upset at this point because they haven't killed Kovach or Ortega twice now. Yells, "Kill them," and opens the gate, so the crowd rushes in. And that's when a fucking ninja shows... No, not a ninja. Actually, I take it back. They look more like the Hunter from Destiny, because they have this weird giant revolver on their back and a sword.
Yes!
And
like this, obviously, like naturally long, flowing coat with a hood that's so big and voluminous it hides their face. Oh, but yeah, like my initial thought was like, okay, there's a bunch of people coming through, and then paff, they're getting shot in the chest. I'm like, all right, what the hell is this? Is this like SWAT team coming in to rescue her? Is this some weird envoy thing from the past coming back to save him? They've kept themselves secret. And like, you just see this ninja, and I'm sorry, they're like, they look like a Reaper, but still, they look like a fucking ninja come out, like swirling a bunch of swords, being a cool badass, and a bunch of flips and stuff, and they decimate everyone coming in.
And pretty quickly,
no motherfucker left standing.
And then like...
I think it's the patchwork song. It's a continuing.
They changed like the music that goes along with it. It's a little bit faster and punchier.
It feels like a dance version. That was my initial thought. It's like, oh, they've technoed this even more. Holy crap!
Ortega
cool.
tries to fight the ninja who slaps her around because you're full of Reaper. Ortega, please just lay down.
So just lay down, honey. Just you know, name tag, lay down.
After this, the ninja takes her hood off, and oh, look at that! It's Kovach's sister. and she's like, "Hi, big bro,"
Yes.
and that's where it cuts. Literally just done.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
And it's done.
And you're just like, oh, wait, what? Kovacs' sister's alive? And she's a ninja?
Yeah. She's a fuck. Because I believe she's supposed to be an envoy too,
you see
right?
her in a couple scenes where he's training with Kelchrist.
Yeah. And this was the only thing that I had a real problem with in this episode. The sudden appearance of the ninja was fucking badass. The fight scene with the ninja was fucking badass. And then like okay, the reveal is going to be something, but it was the I'm your sister was the proper hand of God moment in this episode. It was just like, and your big sister comes in to save you. You know, you're dying of a Reaper thing. Like you've had your ass handed. Sorry, his little sister comes in to save his butt. I'm like, that's the slight hand of God moment there. I'm like, the reveal was rad and the fight was cool, but I wish that like they had fought together to make this thing come true, because then it would be both of them working together and it wouldn't be so much a damsel in distress.
I kind of agree with that, but to give Kovacs fair play here, he did defeat 2 combat sleeves and also murder himself. While on Reaper.
That's true.
Himself.
Yeah, well, on Reaper.
So basically,
so he's still pretty badass.
His
but
ninja
like,
sister came in and killed a bunch of chumps, whereas he murdered 2 combat sleeves and also his own combat sleeve. That's what they were, because they weren't even like, they weren't guards in it. It was just the people watching the fight being like, I'm gonna beat Kovacs to death with a pipe.
Yeah.
Or Riker.
Oh yeah, it's like the back in like 3.5 when you had the fighter who had a defensive stance on, and anyone who moved away mook wise would just be dead.
Like, she killed a bunch of chumps. He killed like bad guys. He killed class enemies, and she killed mooks.
Yeah, but it was that was the only thing I had a slight like, yeah, what the hell is this? But it was the fight scene was so cool, and the fact is it came out of freaking nowhere. Like you did not see this coming from. At least I hadn't seen this come from nowhere.
Even the first time I watched this, I was like, wait, what? Who the fuck is this ninja? Wait, what? It's a very just like, what the fuck?
Like you sent me a message like a couple of days ago, like this episode is wild. I was like, wild? What the hell is this fucking holy ninja?
And also, again, I remind you, it's been 250 years since he died. He was also the last envoy when he died.
Yeah.
His sister, by all accounts, should be fucking dead.
Yeah, like she should not be around. So there's gonna be. I hope they explain something next episode.
Whether or not they do, I can't tell you because that would be cheating. Spoilers and all.
Yeah, I don't want to find out.
But that being said, Valanda, how would you rate this episode?
I'm gonna write a 5. Like there can't be anything else. Like even without the holy fucking ninja appearing at the end, this episode was a 5. Just everything in this was. I forgot how long this episode was. Like, I looked up and went, oh, it's the end. Oh my god, that was 40 odd minutes. Like, I completely forgot. Like, I just lost, like, whole track of, like, the pacing was spot on. Everything was beautiful. I just freaking love this episode. Like, as an action episode, it's really good. The way they dropped story in there was really good. Some of it a little convenient, but still really freaking good. And we've got to see what the hell that, like, fake body was being used for. I'm like, I'm very happy with this. I love this episode.
Well,
what about you, Drew?
This episode, again, it doesn't really stop from the moment it starts. It carries through very well. Even the slow moments are like there's a few slow moments that just continue to add to the story. And then also, it ends on a fucking ninja fight that comes out of nowhere and is very confusing but very cool.
It's like, what the hell is this?
Like,
what the hell is this? Yeah, what's their ninja? It's his sister? What the... Okay, alright. I started watching like the next 5 minutes of the next episode before I forgot, like, oh yeah, shit, we're watching this for a show. Right, hang on. I'm supposed to... God damn it.
It's so good. I'm so happy we decided to watch this.
Me too. There were so many, like, very cool things in here. The pacing was done really well. The shots, like the camera shots you were saying, were very interesting. I liked like the whole hospital thing, like the whole hospital, like walking in was probably maybe 20, 30, 40 seconds, but you had the whole idea of how their hospital system works just from that alone. It was super freaking rad. I love the fact that she thanks him for his new art,
Oh,
for
yeah.
her new arm when
She's
they
like,
had the big
"Coach, I
fight
think I
thing.
love my new arm.
Yeah, it's like, I think we find out everything is forgiven. I think it's an irrational, like, you replaced my arm? I'm replaceable? Like, no, your arm was dying. Okay,
Well, now I
it's
have
a
an
super
awesome
fucking
arm,
cool
so
arm now.
it's fine.
Exactly. Very, very cool. I love it. And I love the fight scene. I love, like, finding out what was going with Dimmy. And if I'm correct, that means Dimmy is now dead
Yeah,
and gone.
Demi's dead and gone. His second stack was crushed.
Yeah. Yep, and he didn't have time to re-sleeve, not that we saw. Sorry, to do a double sleeve, not that
By the
we
way,
saw.
quick thing. I don't know if anyone out there can hear it. I'm getting a weird, like, glitchy noise when Valanda talks. I hope that's not coming through on the audio. I don't know.
No, I don't know. It'll come through on
Yeah.
your audio to everyone else, but yeah, I'm having some weird issues with Zoom at the moment. I think the recording should be fine.
Yes, feedback glitch with a winky face. Thanks. It's a really good show. I like a lot of what they do, and again, the camera work and the set design and all this stuff is so well done. It's a solidly made show.
Cannot rate this enough. I really can't. Like, I just can't rate this show enough. It's so freaking good.
It's worth watching. Again, there are some problems with some of the writing. It seems very convenient at times, but you know what? I can forgive that. That's just writing in general. Like, sometimes you have to just, like, hand of God, be like, and yeah, there's a thing that they need right there, right now.
Yeah, like, how are we going to introduce his sister? Introduce us a freaking badass, like, ninja everything. Let's just do it. And yeah, it worked well. I forgive it. I forgive everything for this. It's just, this episode was amazing. This
Very
series is
much
good.
I mean,
I think
that's it.
I think that's
It's just
yeah,
ending
right?
stuff and announcements. Do you want to go first on announcements before we actually officially end?
Sure. Hi, I'm Volley. I do things. Hey, nailed it. Tomorrow there should be a new episode of The Lucky Die Out where some things get answered, some things don't. Also, The White Vault is out again on Tuesday. For patrons, people get there early. Go listen to that because I'm on it and it's awesome and rad and people are amazing in it. I think other than that, I don't think I'm actually doing a show anywhere else this week. I think it's next week where everything is fucking crazy.
Some stuff. Yeah,
We
Saturday.
do.
Yeah.
We do. Oh, wait, yeah, okay, but you can announce that. Other than that, find me on Twitter at blood_BTB or the. I'm going to link everything in chat. White Vault is the best,
White Vault's
it's
very good.
The freaking best.
I have a lot of questions that obviously I'm not getting answered, and I hate it because I want to know.
I know everything.
Just tell me the stuff. Tell me everything. Anyway, I
can't
listen
go
to it
listen
every
to
week.
it.
Also, you put podcasts, and that made me laugh. Podcasts. I'm Drew Tillman, and you can find me on Twitter at NotThatDrew, which is actually probably the best place to find out what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, because I tend to tweet about that, and that's kind of all I tweet about because I'm bad at social media in general.
Yes, we are.
But, so, fun announcement. There's going to be a double dose of Couch for It this week. Saturday, I assume 8 p.m., like our usual time. What time works for you?
So
because it's a weird.
I'm actually see what we're doing on Saturday. Everyone to it, and then I'll explain what the timing will be.
So Saturday, we're gonna get drunk and watch a bad horror movie, and then as soon as we finish the bad horror movie, we're gonna stream and talk to you about the bad horror movie. It's going to be magical.
It's also going to be a question mark on the when, because I'm actually coming home from a theatre trip at midnight my time. So I don't know exactly when I'll be in. We also need to watch the episode and get drunk, and then we need to do it. So next week will pretty much be a keep your eyes open. We'll let you know as soon as we are feasibly possible able to let you know.
However, we might be able to run watching it live without actually, and just talking about it as it plays. Sort of like live tweeting it, but continuously drinking.
Oh, I think we can do that via Rabbit, right? Because we can broadcast us two doing this,
separately
and
watch.
we can do Rabbit so people can watch it with us. Yeah. We just won't broadcast the Rabbit.
What we're watching. It's gonna be good. We're gonna be watching.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look it up.
I tell you what, I don't
okay,
know yet,
I
so
won't tell
don't tell me. I want to go into this completely blind and come out
It's not Dead or
completely
Alive
blind
for
drunk.
Polish. I have a movie from the. Oh, Dead Alive. Oh, it's not that either. It's from like the 80s. It's a really bad horror movie. It's gonna be beautiful. Anyway, we're gonna watch that, and then Sunday we're gonna be back with episode 7 of Altered Carbon at our usual time of 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's very exciting.
Yes.
I can't wait to do both of these.
Wait, when do you guys have your weird time change
That will be
conversion
it'll
thing?
be November 4th at like 2 a.m. or some shit.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, just you'll have to remind me because like it means because we don't change until the week
Gotcha,
after.
okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the week after. It's like it'll be Sunday morning technically when it changes, like November 4th, the Sunday.
Yeah.
Anyway, follow me on Twitter.
Cool.
That's where you find all my stuff. I am in Taking Initiative, which comes out every other Monday. I'm in other things. You can find me other places. I don't know if.
Choosing things. Also, Dark Dice
Oh, that's
comes
right.
out in the
That
next
does
couple
come
of
out in a
weeks.
couple of weeks.
Yes, it does. Which
I
am
will be on. I actually
Andrew will
not
be
sure
on.
if I wasn't sure if I could talk about that yet, but yes, I will be on Dark Dice in the future at some point. I don't know when.
Yeah. Yeah, I start in it and then
I
Drew
do,
comes in there later.
and I come in and make things real dumb.
Yeah,
Let me rephrase.
Yes,
I make things
yes,
a
you do.
special type of dumb.
it's good though, but keep your eyes out on Dark Dice because we'll be up on there fairly soon. This live episode should be going
it's
up
coming
next
out. I
month.
listened to the preview episode and the Meet the Innkeep episode that is currently up. There's like a couple of like little prequel things.
shit.
They're very interesting. I can't wait to actually hear what happens before I came in because I want to know. No, you did, but like I want to
gave
hear
you
like
the
the whole, all of it.
It's dark and twisted. There are things that I do not tell you.
And that's
Oh
the
my
thing. The
God.
recap you gave me like the shorthand recap. I want to know like details.
Very. Oh my God, it's gross and disgusting.
Can't
and I'm traumatized.
wait.
Genuinely traumatized.
Anyway,
Anyway, we will catch you guys
twice next week.
twice
it's gonna be
next
great.
week.
You're gonna enjoy it. I will probably be wearing some sort of fairly terrible
Yeah.
costume. Maybe depends on how much effort I put into it.
I will not have time for a costume.
Your costume will be
Not gonna lie.
drunkness.
That's true. I will be wearing the guise of some sort of whiskey, I think.
Costume.
So,
But thank you all for joining us for episode 6.
Yeah.
We'll be back Saturday and Sunday, and we'll see you all in a week.
yep.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
See ya.